Hello everybody and welcome into today's video. Today is slightly different than most other days. I wanted to set aside this video because there had been so many people who have asked to see this. And in a lot of the comments I've been receiving is, please show us jewelry that we can readily find at flea markets, estate sales, yard sales, rummage sales, thrift stores, antique shops, or antique malls. And the jewelry that I wanted to pick out today is costume jewelry all by one company, which is Trifari. Now, I believe that Trifari was founded in 1910, and I think it was Gustave Trifari. Around 19, I'm going from memory here, I think around 1925. Between 1925 and 1930, or the early 1930s, Trifari was marked with a K, T, and an F. And so it's a little K, a big capital T, and then a small capital F. So it reads KTF. And that was Leo Krussmann, Gustav Trifari, and I believe Carl Fischel. And that mark only lasted for, I think, that 5 or 6 year span. But mostly you'll see Trifari marked with the full Trifari mark, which is right here. That is one of the classic Trifari marks. Sometimes there is a little T, a little crown over the capital T. So that's sometimes termed Crown Trifari. Let me see if I can find a piece. And actually, I'm going to go off camera for a second and take a look at, I think one of my fur clips has it. And thank you so much for bearing with me. I guess this is proof that I really do listen. Let's see if this one has it on the back of this fur clip. That one does have it. There's a crown above the T. So you'll see that kind of crown logo above the T. I have very, I guess more unusual pieces set off camera for a future video on Trifari that's very, very, very unusual and very expensive. So I showed you the pin just a second ago, and that's what they're basically really well known for, is this kind of brushed gold and faux pearl jewelry. These are all faux pearls and little tiny rhinestones, and all of the metal is either gold plated or silver plated. Now, I believe in 1947, they had a patent for an alloy of metal that didn't tarnish, and it was called trifanium. Trifanium, Trifanium, I believe is the way it was spelled. So that trifanium was a metal that didn't tarnish, and I believe that some of the finish on some of their pearls and some of the luster that they were using was also specifically used by the Trifari company. So there's, kind of the lay of the land for Trifari. And why I bring Trifari on is every state that I've ever traveled to in the United States, I've always been able to find Trifari jewelry. Very affordable. These earrings I picked up recently for $3. And online, because of the amethyst stone, and that's faux amethyst, so it's a purple rhinestone. Because of that, these would then sell for around maybe $60. If it was any other, if it was a clear rhinestone, it would sell for less. But the purple stone in that drives the price just a little bit. So make sure you look for the Trifari mark. When you buy the earrings, just make sure the clips work very well and snap together. Hear that snap? Just make sure the spring on the earrings is very tight, because they want to be able to wear these once someone buys them. Showed these earrings just a second ago. These are from the 1960s, 1970s. I believe these were by a Japanese designer that worked with Trifari. I don't want to get into that certain designer's work just because I'm not certain that these earrings are by that designer. Now, I would say a value on these, because they're slightly more unusual, I would say around $100 for these, and I paid $2 for these because they were just plastic and costume. Please be careful with the green on the metal. You'll have to clean that up, and I'll do a video on how to clean that. We'll get into cleaning and storing and all that in future videos, but you do need to watch that on some of the Trifari metal specifically. Let me scoot this necklace over a little bit. Look at this brushed gold and faux pearl bracelet. Be careful to not have excessive amounts of wear to the gold, either on the front or the back, because buyers do frown on that. I think this one might be a crown Trifari. Let me see. I think it might be from memory. Yes. See the little crown above the Trifari? That's considered crown Trifari. I really never noticed an escalation of value having the crown or not. Sometimes you'll see a hang tag. Let me, so on this bracelet, before I move on too fast, watch the high points of the pearls and make sure there's no wear to the luster. I do have a huge collection of Trifari that is damaged, missing a pearl or missing a rhinestone, and I can harvest those stones to restore one of these pieces. Trifari pearls are a very specific color, so if you think you're going to buy this, if it's missing a pearl, just be sure that the pearl that you put in its place is the exact color, and I would suggest harvesting or taking it out of a vintage Trifari piece that's highly damaged. That's just my suggestion. I will get into restoring and repairing costume jewelry as well. So with this bracelet, this is probably around $65 or $75 because it's wider, very lovely, this kind of cross X design with the pearl alternating. So there's that for Trifari. Now, this brooch and this brooch, I show you these because this one's slightly more unusual than this one. This is the classic brooch that you'll normally find. Now, if you find one with less pearls and more gold, I would say the value wouldn't be much more than maybe $30 or $40. This one I would say would be a little bit more, $55 to $65 on this one, signed Trifari on the back, and you will become so well versed with Trifari and the design and the quality that you won't need to flip these over. You'll know it as soon as you see it. You won't have to be looking for signatures constantly. So be mindful of the overall design and craft and look at the quality and the luster of the pearls. Again, watch the high points very closely to see that they're not worn or chipped, because that will very much so decline the value very quickly, and make sure all the rhinestones are there as well. This one's slightly more unusual. Oval pearls and this kind of more matte finish, or they were going for mabe pearls. They were going for an unusual shape and a different color of pearl. But look at with these brushed gold leaves. Again, signed Trifari right there on the corner right there. And the riveted construction. Notice how well made Trifari is. It's just incredibly well made. This brooch probably around $80, maybe $90. If someone has the necklace to this or the earrings to this, they were usually sold in 3 or 4 piece sets, or demi parure or parure if it's a full set. That, if you found the necklace to this, you might be able to ask $120 for this brooch, because the necklace, that is usually the most expensive part of a Trifari set. This is brushed gold, gold tone, and faux pearl. Again, a collar. I believe we're missing one stone right here, so please watch close. That's a very easy fix for me. I can fix that in literally just a few minutes. And look at the luster on these pearls. Great condition. This chain with the drop pearl is a classic Trifari chain, and there's the hook. On the necklaces, they're usually marked on the back or sometimes on the inside of the hook. So please look on the outside right here, and sometimes they're real tricky and they're marked on the inside of the hook right here. Checking the hook on the inside will make you tons of money, because sometimes people will miss that mark because it's on the inside. So always look on the inside. This is also the original T with the crown, the little hang tag on the back of the necklace. Sometimes these are missing and sometimes they're intact. I would say about 50% of the time they're there, 50% of the time they're missing. Again, Condition. Make sure that the gold is in really good condition. This is totally acceptable. That's acceptable to see a little bit of wear, not much. Watch the front of the metal as well. Also watch for black spotting or pitting on the gold because it's very difficult to refinish the gold or the gold plating on these necklaces. So I'll leave that one down here. And again, thanks for joining in. I did put out on this pad, because I'm doing this slightly differently today, I did put out on this pad several more pieces that were off camera, so I wouldn't have to delay today and undo bags and undo Ziplocs and delay. And I really appreciate your time and your willingness to learn with me. I really do. And again, please make sure you understand that I read every single comment that I get. And this is further proof. You asked for a video on affordable costume jewelry that you can find, so this is what I did for you. These are classic examples of more Trifari jewelry that you can readily find. These are slightly more unusual. These are slightly less common to find, but you can most certainly still find them. This one's a faux emerald stone in gold-plated metal. Look how retro. Very 1940s, very 1950s. The hallmark is right there on this corner. Look at that condition and the quality of the undulating metal on that brooch. Very retro, very cool, very high style. And you can see that Trifari mimicked fine jewelry. This looks like it's 18 karat gold and Colombian emerald. It gave women of moderate means the ability to dress like their really wealthy counterparts. And Trifari was excellent at that. One of the leading designers was Alfred Philippe. I believe that Alfred Philippe was with Trifari, I think, and please, forgive me if it's not completely true. I believe it's 30s through 1965 or 1968. He was the lead designer. This brooch is a classic example of Trifari that mimicked fine jewelry. This one, I picked up this for $5. I would think that this would go between 60 and 70, possibly 80 if you found the earrings or the bracelet or the necklace that this went with. A lot of Trifari collectors now are trying to complete their sets. Doesn't this look like platinum and diamonds? Look at my 18 karat gold and diamond ring, and look at that brooch. Look how beautiful that this was, so closely mimicking the fine jewelry of the time. Both of these are from the 1950s. This brooch, how beautifully constructed. Yes, some of the glue has yellowed a little bit. Some collectors frown on that, and other collectors understand that that happens. There is the Crown Trifari mark again, the crown above the capital T, clearly signed Trifari. That brooch in this size and condition would be around $55 to $65 would be a fair going rate, and I have two of these currently. Now, you might ask yourself, are these part of my permanent collection? No, these are not part of my permanent collection, but they're definitely going to be sold. I'm definitely going to be listing these on eBay. That's where I sell most of my items. And let me scoot this one up. I think I may have, I did. I just, here, I'm going to put this up here because two little pearls just popped out of that bracelet. It's not uncommon to have little pearls fall out here or there, but at least I have them so I can repair that bracelet. Look at this wreath brooch. Very much so, blue sapphire stones. One has been replaced, at least it looks like it has been, and maybe this one over here has been as well. The blue is slightly a different color. So in that, if it was in perfect condition, I would say $90. Since two of the stones look, they may have been replaced, I would say slightly less, $35 to $45. Just be careful to make sure that all stones are original and intact, and there again is the Trifari hallmark. I say that these things are readily available because I bought this at a flea market for, I think, $8. And it was just on a rhinestone brooch board where there were all these rhinestone pins. These are Trifari earrings. I don't know what's going on with the center stone here. That's probably a replacement as well. So if that was not a replacement and that was all original, these would be over $100. Probably $125 to $135. They're unusual. unusual. Faux lapis, faux diamond, gold plated. That I'll look into. That could be, yeah, someone may have either the finish wore off or someone painted that. So I'm going to have to look into that and see what's going on there with that stone, but something's going on. Now, if I can't sell these, I could sell these for parts. I just had a single Trifari earring sell on eBay for $120 because it was an unusual earring that I knew that they would harvest the stones from. A year ago, I had a brooch that was missing over half the stones. It was in the, I like to say the lava rock line. Some people say the moon rock line. Both terms, I believe, are correct. It was in that line and it was missing so many of the stones. And I think I sold it for like $350 or $450. And it was missing over half the stones. But that's because those stones are so hard to find. If you had the necklace to this, it would be stunning, and the necklace would be, in my mind, between $400 and $600 without even seeing it. I've never seen the necklace to these earrings, but I would say it would command a huge price. Please be aware that some Trifari can be very valuable. Look at these faux sapphire and faux diamond earrings and rhodium plating. Their rhodium finish on Trifari jewelry was fantastic. There's the hallmark on the clip earrings, very small. So please have your jeweler's loupe with you because that's tiny. That's a little tiny mark and you might look right past it. But as soon as I saw these are on a 50-cent table. I think these were at a church rummage sale on the way home from the flea market one day. 50 cents. I'll turn these into at least 60 or 70. At least. Bare minimum on those. Those are beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Very well made. Let me sneak this one back up here. And I'll put this one right here. And then I'm going to reach for a few more things in this box. And then we are going to call it quits for the day. I know it's Friday and you all like to go out to eat with your family or your significant others. And who can blame you? After a long week of work, why wouldn't you want to go out and enjoy your family? These are Trifari and they're very old. I think these are loosely attributed to Alfred Philippe. Not really sure if it's one of his designs. I think people loosely flip that name around, no pun intended, they flip that name around and they throw that name around just because it makes things sell higher. I'm not one of those people that just flips the name around unless I know. These are sterling silver. Please be aware that Trifari did many things in sterling silver. These are faux emerald and faux amethyst, and it looks like that is enamel on the outside of these. That may have been repainted over time because it doesn't look original to me. I would think clear stones would be in their place. If these were in perfect condition, I would say they would be between $200 and $300. Very unusual color combination. Very, very cool that they're sterling silver. And again, look at the design. Very 1940s on those. Very reminiscent of the 40s. This bracelet, I think it could be Empress, and I think it was Eugenie. E-U-G-E-N N-I-E. Empress Eugenie. Now this fell out of there, so what I'm going to have to do is get some glue, and I do use a 2-part epoxy, and I am going to put these right back where they were. You can see the original glue let loose on those pearls. So, but look at this line bracelet. It looks like platinum, diamonds, and cultured pearls, but it's completely synthetic. Now that is one classy and beautiful bracelet. Absolutely fantastic. It might be of the Empress line and it might not be. Most of hers had some enamel on the metal. This one doesn't have any enamel. There's the Trifari mark. I would say on this one, with the pearls glued back in appropriately, I would say value on that would be around, as I look at it, I think the value would be around $200 to $300. I did have an Empress Eugenie brooch that sold for $1,100, but that's because it was very, very large. Be careful because Trifari can claim some very high prices. Very, very, very classic Trifari clasp here. That real nice, snug fold over. And then to open it, you just open it that way. That's almost always riveted in place. Be careful that this top portion is not missing. Sometimes it is, and it's always going to be signed on the back of that clasp. So take a look and make sure that you've got it signed. This is slightly more unusual. Delicate leaves, a vine design, all of the red Aurora Borealis are intact and there. I would say this one would be between 75 and 85. You might be able to get a little bit more, maybe around 95. I wouldn't get too aggressive. I try to keep my prices appropriate and low and competitive. That's all I can tell you. If you want to get into the resale business, please stay competitive. There's an awful lot for sale in the marketplace, and there's not a ton of consumers currently. So supply and demand, let's be honest about it. Supply and demand. The supply is high, the demand is a little bit lower these days, so just be careful when you're buying for resale. This is marked with the Trifari mark, again the crown above the T. Look at that, looks like platinum, diamonds, and sapphires. Beautifully done, mimics fine jewelry. This one between 85 and 95. You may want to be a little more aggressive and go about 100, but I would, if someone offered me 65, I would sell this in a minute. I paid $12 for this one, and I was happy to pay the $12 because it was in such great condition. Be careful if any of these stones are missing, because it's going to be a little bit harder to match them up in color and size, so just be careful. Just be careful if something's missing a stone, because you're going to want to fix it to be able to sell it. This enameled ring is slightly more unusual. I want to say that this, I think there was a line called Mosaic. There may not have been. I may be dreaming that. But this may be the Mosaic line, and I might have that wrong, because I think the Mosaic line had kind of odd-shaped stones that were, the Mosaic line had odd-shaped stones, the more I think about it, that were either white or like a turquoise color. So I don't think this is Mosaic. I want to correct myself there. I don't want to give misinformation. That is signed down in, way down in there, and I don't know why this... There we go. Signed Trifari way down in. This ring guard's original. If that's missing, you will see a little solder seam back here. A little gray solder seam. If that's broken off, I don't know if I'd really go after this. I had the snake of this that's enamel with little green eyes, and it was missing the fitter ring, and I only sold it for 100. With the fitter ring, and if it was a snake ring, that would have brought, oh boy, that would have brought 300, 400. So not having the fitter ring does really adjust the price. This one, I would say, with the yellow and green enamel on this kind of brushed gold tone dome, late 1950s, early 1960s on this one, I would say wearability-wise between 80 and 90. Maybe as low as 65, maybe as high as 110 currently, as of today. This one I bring on because there is slight wear to the pearls. So just look close, because some of these pearls, and I think towards this one side, there were a couple that had a little scuff on the top of the pearl. Just be careful, because that does affect the value. But look at that for a classic faux pearl and faux gold plated necklace, collar necklace. Again, the clasp will be signed right here, and then maybe the hang tag is, yep, there's the hang tag on this side right there. That's the classic Trifari chain to be able to adjust the length. Normally these necklaces go between a 16 and an 18. So Trifari necklaces have a tendency to go between a 16 and an 18 inch, sometimes 17 inches. I'll leave that there. I bring on these 3 bracelets, and we're almost done. We're almost at the finish line. I bring on these 3 bracelets. I loved them. Yes, there was some wear to the gold, but I forgave it because they all have their original Trifari hang tags. And it says right on here, Jewels by Trifari with the crown above the T. And sometimes there will be a price on the back of this foil tag. It was very cool that all three of these had all of their tags, and then on the inside, they should always be marked on the inside, right there. So they should always be marked, and all three of these were Trifari, and they all are proudly marked right there on the inside. These are all gold tone, and this is the final one. Let's see here. There we go. Signed right there. This trio was just fantastic. They were $1 each. I couldn't get the dollar out fast enough. I think conservatively for the trio, not pair, but for the trio of three of them, maybe 60 to 80, I think would be fair. I think that's more than fair, and it's just so cool that they had their tags. So let me set these down and not damage any pearls. Set those out of the way. This is slightly more unusual. It's a bypass bracelet of these bull heads. That's beautiful Trifari. Signed down on the inside, great spring, nice gold plating, a little bit of wear on the face, so you'd have to note that when you sell it. Probably about, because of the wear, $45 to $55, but unusual for design. In better condition, maybe around $100 to $125. So it does matter on condition. I show you these because these were in a short feed of mine, and you could see how I haven't been in a panic to really get things listed on my eBay, but these are headed towards eBay. I bought these for $4. These were found out in Wooster, Ohio, and these are the either lava or moon rock stones. And these are slightly more unusual because the blue is harder to find than that kind of lime green, or I think they did it in an amber as well. So the blue, I think, is the harder color to find, at least according to what I've seen. And then spaced with blue aurora borealis. Look at the condition of these. Fully hallmarked on the back. And I haven't taken them off this card because I didn't want to damage them, but fully hallmarked on the back, Trifari. I paid $4. I would say, and the person even knew that they were Trifari, Crown Trifari, and they were blue AB. If they looked them up and took a moment, I think on eBay the cheapest pair I saw was $174.99, and I think those were in the amber. I didn't find any in the blue when I looked these up back, a few months ago when I did the short feed from the antique store. When I actually found these out in the wild, I took you with me that day. I would say that I'm going to start these or do a buy it now best offer of like $245. And then let someone make me an offer. But I'm never bashful on price because are they worth that? Absolutely yes, because they're just so hard to find and in really beautiful condition. And look at that aurora borealis on these art glass, moon rock, or lava rock stones. Beautiful design and beautiful craft. We'll set those down right here. We're going to move on to this last little bit, and I'm going to pause you because I'm going to change out the background for a reason. So just wait one sec. I'll be right back. And I know you're probably saying, wow, you're a magician. I should have waved my hand before I put it on pause. And then waved my hand so it looked like I just automatically changed the background to white. So these are Trifari. All these pieces, there's 4. There's a little tiny pair of earrings in a cranberry glass, kind of a layered design. There's a large cranberry glass prong set pendant on a multiple festoon chain, then a simple row of collar set red glass stones with a Trifari clasp, a large brooch in green, blue, and cranberry or red stones, and again, right down here, let's see where the mark is. It's, right there, Trifari. There you go, right there. And it has the hook to be a pendant as well. So you can wear this as a brooch, pin, or pendant. And then you go into this one, which is the multicolor drop, gigantic. And it's blue, red, and green stones. And the blue transitions to purple because you can sometimes see the magenta from the other side. See how that looks purple? No, it's not purple, it's still pink, so it matches all the rest of these. So just remember, sometimes the color from behind will alter rhinestones when they're clearly open back set. This should be signed way up here. Yes, this should be signed way up here, Trifari. You can tell that the person that wore this, ooh, there's the little hang tag too. Yep, there's the little guy right there. So you can tell that the person wore this the most. Look how the antiqued gold is worn off to this kind of silver tone. All right, so please watch the wear on the metal as well. Should be this color on the chain. It's just that the person wore the heck out of this, and they wore the plating off up here as well because they wore this so much. When you look at the brooch, you'll see they didn't wear this very much because the gold is completely intact on the front and the back. Now these are all glass stones. This is considered Trifari Renaissance line. So this is Renaissance, that's the name of the line. There were so many different ones. There was figurals and enamels, and the famous lines were like Jewels of India, Jewels of Fantasy, Firework, or Starflight, Fruit Salad. This would be considered fruit salad colors, but it's not the fruit salad line. Fruit salad colors are sapphire blue, ruby red, and emerald green. Those are the, quote, fruit salad colors. Cartier was doing fruit salad jewelry back in late 30s, early 40s, and Trifari was doing a synthetic of it. If you go on eBay currently, this day exactly, when this airs, Friday, you'll see there is a Trifari bracelet on that is listed for $14,000. It's $14,000 because it's wide, it's unusual, probably one of only a few that were ever made or still exist. It's very wide. It's probably 2.5 to 3 inches wide, and it's all, quote, fruit salad stones, which are not gemstones at all, but they're just molded glass. And then spaced with rhinestones, rhodium plated, and that bracelet, they're asking $14,000 for it. I won't comment on what I think it's worth because the fine bracelet by Cartier that's fruit salad would be around $300,000 or $400,000 in the same size and the same quality, and maybe even slightly more. Maybe $750,000 or even $850,000 for a real one. A Trifari synthetic, I can see why they're asking $14,000 for it. If I owned that bracelet, I don't think I'd sell it, period. I just don't think I would. But look at how these stones are set. Look at how the attention to detail that they're open back glass. So this, I would say, as a let's see here, that'd be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 piece because the earrings are here. I would say let me show you this one up close too. As a 5-piece set, and look at the gold on this one. Beautiful condition. This is what this one should look like. This gold colored metal should look like that. See the difference there? That's a lot of wear. So just be careful when you're selling because you don't want to upset a customer and you want to keep things fair. So if you think there's wear to it, call it out. Error on the safe side. That's what I've always done on my selling platforms, especially eBay, because nobody likes, getting something in the mail that isn't as advertised. And I have sold 27,000 items on eBay. 27,000 unique items as I get an earring tangled in this chain because I said I didn't want that to happen. So what do you know? What are the chances that I would flip that chain around and I'd catch an earring? Okay, let's cut to the chase here. So you have 5 pieces with the earrings, and yes, I would sell them all separately, but as a 5-piece grouping, you would have to be in the vicinity of about $2,000 to $3,000. I could break that down, but there's really no reason to because they're going to be around, anywhere between 300 to 500 a piece. Could you ask more for them? You could. Would they sell for more than that? Not right now. They just wouldn't. So that's the basic value on those. So please be on the lookout for more unusual lines of Trifari like this, more unusual stones and sizable. You can look at this and say, I can see why this would sell for slightly more than just this, And then you can see, if we put in, where did I put my Trifari brooch? So the common Trifari pearl brooch, so this is beautiful, nothing taken away from it, but you can see these all day long for $30, $40, $50, $60. Then you see this for $60 to $80. Then you upgrade to this one for around $250 to $350, maybe $375, you know? I haven't checked current values on the Renaissance line, but I got very lucky. And I will tell you, I did not put any more than approximately, I think maybe $200 into all 5 pieces. And I just got incredibly, incredibly lucky. I always say right day, right time, but you can find the Renaissance line out in general public. So in the next coming video on Trifari, I will be bringing out some of my personal treasures of some of the Jelly Belly brooches, some of the enamels, some of the more unusual rhinestone and some of the larger pieces, and also some of the enameled pieces. I think I'm bringing on the corn on the cob brooch and some of the more notable Alfred Philippe works that are very early and very desirable. But you asked for a video on how can I make money on vintage costume jewelry. This is only one of over 20 different companies that I can do a video on to steer you into how can you start to make a business out of buying and possibly part of your collection that you've amassed over the years, or items that were passed down in your family that are heirlooms that none of the family wants anymore. You know, why not turn it into money and reinvest it and do something that you really want to do? But I love vintage costume jewelry, and I appreciate you very much for trusting me, for trusting my opinions. And you know how I'm going to end this. You got me to 7,000 subscribers, over 7,000, and I so adore each and every one of you. Never forget, I love you.